Morning, my fellow travelers on Spaceship Earth. It is I, and I am Guy, coming to you live from Applewood Station, where it is minus something degrees. I don't know, because it's too busy giving me weather alerts, and snowing, which I get. All right. There we go. It's right now just 0, but we're snowing pretty badly right now, and that's kind of an interesting thing. Well, or we're snowing pretty good. You never know. Both could be true. Both could be true. Let's see. I don't know if this will work, but I'll give it a shot here. This could be interesting. If I do this and this, I can probably do this. There we go. Then we can do something interesting like this. There we go. Look at that. Currently snowing, which is kind of cool. And see, we got like the park over here, which is all covered in snow and stuff. I totally have a snow cam. What's our weather like outside? This is our weather outside. Isn't that cool? Why is it pulsing like that? I don't even know what that means. Huh. On a little road back there. Someone's about to drive by. A snowplow. Thanks, Westminster. Who says snowplow drive by? Let's see if I can adjust it up a little. It really doesn't help to be adjusted up much, does it? There we go. Going the other direction. There we go. Always fascinating to watch snowplows do their thing. All right. Well, at least fascinating. I feel like it's tilted. Can I? No. It's pretty okay, I guess. Yeah, well. Looks like everybody's sort of suffering from it. Wow. Oh, that's what we got going on. Somebody else will go. They're still plowing. Got sanding trucks galore out there. It's kind of cool. All right. Yes, we probably ought to get to work here. What I will do, though, is I'll add the, at least temporarily, add the source of that camera. Good morning. How are you doing this morning, Venus? Venus? Venus. Probably Venus. Do video capture device. And just do that one temporarily. There we go. You guys can watch the snow as it continues to fall over here. I'm doing good. How are you? I mean, it's snowing. We've got a lot of snow going, but that's all right. We're getting there. Pretty much the entire area is right now, entire city is shut down. So I've seen the snow plows go by a couple of times, so they're working it. How about you? That's good. Well, so far, I've only been streaming for about 10 minutes so far. That's all right. We're getting there. We're getting there. Now I'm just trying to figure out if I liked where I moved this scene. I think I liked where I moved this scene. But I want to make sure that I'm not. Oh, where is that? Oh, there it is. It's on the original layer. Relatively. I've been here. I mean, we've been broadcasting on Twitch for, I want to say, probably 2 years. It was later on when we started broadcasting to Twitch. Right now, we started broadcasting on Facebook and YouTube. We use a restreamer, so it bounces our streams to Twitch and Facebook and YouTube. My stream isn't really well suited for the Twitch community, which is fine. So we get just a couple of people who are usually in here, and it's no big deal. No, I'm not here to be that. That's not what I'm headed for. This stream has a very specific job. And that is, it keeps me working. That's its entire job. So if I have one person or a million, it won't make any difference to me. I'm in school right now to learn anthropology and to be an anthropologist. So this isn't my income source. This isn't anything like that. I have been building this world and now I'm making a comic out of it. So the whole point here is just to keep me from deciding that I would rather watch TV or something so that I continue to work on my comic, so that I don't forget it and leave it behind, and then 20 years from now go, why did I do that? I feel like you're not listening. I feel like you're going to do it anyway. It's all right. You can do the things you need to do, my friend. I'm going to move that down, though. We're at 0 degrees. No, I'm good, thanks. I'm fine. Totally fine. We got better things to do here. We're going to try to work on this scene. But I appreciate it. It's not like I don't appreciate it. And I really like the fact that people busk out here, like they're trying to actually, do things, get work and stuff like that. I can really appreciate that. All right. I have not. All right. I have ended up, though, with a lot of dust on my monitor. When you clean your monitor in real time, you never want to spray anything directly on it while the monitor is on. So what you do is you take a paper towel, you take your Windex, spray the paper towel, and put that on here. After a while, all of these monitors sort of just build up gunk. And so you can just use this real quick to just go through and kind of clean up your monitor. And we're in the middle of a drawing, so I'll be very careful not to touch the buttons and the controls. No, I'm not that interested, but thank you. It does look like, though, junk has gotten underneath my monitor, or my protective cover on there. That is kind of annoying. Then make sure you put your cleaner somewhere out of reach of your coffee, so you don't, drink your cleaner. All right, back to my felt tip pen. I'm on the top level. I'm just going to go on ahead, and all I'm doing here is completing this. This is going to be the kittiwake being up in orbit. We were already tell to understand from me. You're not understanding what I'm saying, so. In fact, I can change the controls here in just a second. There we go. We are playing music. It's not very loud. All right. Okay, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 1, 2, 3, 4. This is a 4-page scene. And this is a 3-page scene, and then we move on to the next sequence of scenes. I actually am not working on Chang and Bennett at this point in time on this, because this is all going to now be one. Now, let's talk about what are the goals of this scene.
What's the password for that?
Okay, so what we've got in this particular thing, I'm going to actually look at both of these. I'll look at this entire thing, because here's kind of what I'm looking for in this particular script. We have this scene of 5, and then this scene of 3. And really, we should flip-flop back and forth between what's going on and the concept behind it. Right? So what are the goals of this scene? Bennett saying, not much we can do against their weapons. Is that what we want? We want the goal there to be that. It's kind of what I'm thinking. Is we want the goal to be something to the order of, their weapons are bigger than ours, larger than ours. I'm not sure. But there's a long-term goal kind of going on here with this one, that there's 2 threads. And I think I did a pretty good job of breaking it up, but I also feel like there's no goals between these for the other scenes. This is me thinking. So I'm pondering this setup. Yeah, I'm having a hard time kind of thinking it through. So let's look at just the overview of these scenes. Because I'm having a hard time kind of visualizing this. Right? Here is one scene. Here's another scene. then here is sort of the final scene. Whereas I'm dedicating a whole lot more to the other story. Not really intending to, but by accident I am. Right, the other story then takes up this part. And I feel like I can get a whole lot more done if I were to just take, it's like having magic glasses. I get a whole lot more through the story, but just looking at the mask from one side to the other. Now, what Alex is doing is more important. So, but it still looks like I've got a lot more going on with the red side of this than the green. Just looking at the different sides of these things. Personally, what I think we can do is have Alex do why the cat thing this time. And I think I'll move these guys back one. So kind of knowing that this is where we are on these things, I'm going to take this scene right here. We're going to move it into this spot. Because this is it only needs to be 3 pages. Because this is why a cat. Doesn't really matter. And this scene then and this allows me a little bit more time for them to say we're screwed, we're boned, whatever. And then we'll come back from break. We don't need to really show her driving in here, which is kind of the way I sort of originally thought of doing it. Sort of driving in here. And instead, we should take this scene and move it up here. Because what we should have is the Kittiwake getting engaged in this fight. Right here at 2425. And literally the worst part of this story, where the things are the bleakest for our characters, right? So I'm thinking 2425 is a much better place for this to be. Got a lot of you guys today. If you are a human and not a bot, that's not the point of this channel. Followers and things like that, that's not why I'm here. So I'm not interested. No problem with what you guys are doing. It's all good. Not having any problems at all, but it's all good. Just so you know, that's not the point of this channel. But thanks. Take this. And deselect it. This guy. Move it over here to there. Good morning, Brent. We've had a lot of people. Yep, that's what we got. Snowview. Been watching all kinds of stuff going. We've had bot after bot here trying to sell me things. It's really kind of funny. We're getting there. It's still storming, although now the snow is very fine. They're saying that it will continue to snow well into tomorrow morning. So though it doesn't look so bad yet, it's expected to get far worse as the day goes on. They're saying that the snow is continuing through. Yeah, I'm having bot problems. Before you and Brent showed up, Ray, I already had like 2 bots here. I had to block one because it clearly wasn't listening. I was doing the, do you want more viewers? Do you want to? And I'm like, this isn't the point of this channel. Channel isn't here for viewership. I love my viewers, but I'm happy with like 3 viewers. It's all right. But we could get you more. I know. Just connect to my Discord. And I'm like, you're not listening. So I ended up blocking them. And then I got another one going, sorry to bother you, but I've got a promotion for your channels and you can get more viewers and followers. I'm like, okay, but I'm not here for that. It's not what we're here for. So anyway, instead, I'm over here trying to move things around. Yeah, it's all right. I appreciate it though. I mean, like, I get it. People want to make money, and I understand that. But their bots aren't listening. Their bots are just joining channels and saying things. And that's not helping anybody. You know? It's a good question. What if you were a bot, Ray? Right? This is just a really long con. You've been here for a very long time just to see if I will ultimately buy your services. At some point here, Ray's going to suddenly go, Now, if you want to join my Discord, that's what Ray's doing. It's the long con. Look at you playing the long con. At some point in time, I'm sure somebody's going to hook up Chat GPT to this, and they will start listening and talking and responding. And you can let them just be free on a channel, and it'll sit there and interact with them on the channel. And then at the last minute, go, by the way, if you want more followers, you can click on my channel, And I'll be sitting there going, okay, really? I have all these. It actually could be kind of fascinating if you have like 3 or 4 bots, and they're all Chat GPT bots, and they're all talking to each other, and they're talking to you, and we're all staying on topic, and discussing stuff like that. That could be fascinating. From a cultural aspect, you could almost train the Chat GPT bots to be kind and nice, and start seeing if you can't influence the culture on the internet. Right? Exactly. This is all social engineering on Ray's part. Okay, here's what we're going to do. We're going to not use this at all. Or this. I think the funniest part is that Nightbot's still on here chattering away. Right, George? Yeah. George is in here to start talking to me. As George is wont to do. As you are wont to do. How are you doing down there? Oh, okay. Well, you can come up here. I'll give you scritches, but I'm not going down there for the scritches. You're on the floor. That's too far away. Well, Ray, Brent, happy Pie Day. So I hope you guys are having a wonderful. I hope you eat pie today. It's Pie Day, so it's 3/14. So 3/14, March 14th. Oh, really? Or Pie Day. Yep. It also happens to be Einstein's birthday, if that helps any. So happy birthday, Einstein. Thanks for giving us general relativity that we all now suffer from. Before that, we could break the speed of light, but then you had to invent special relativity. Yeah, your day's coming to an end, but it's still Pi Day for you. Or at least almost at the end of Pi Day, but yeah. Either way, happy Pi Day. I actually kind of like Pi Day because it's a day that's sort of sprung up in the internet universe. So it's not an American holiday. It's not a Japanese holiday. It's just sort of like an internet holiday. So all the people on the internet sort of kind of talk about it. And so it's not religiously bound. It's not, that's something to do, what do we call it? Ethnographic survey on. That's interesting because there are kind of like now a whole new generation of holidays or whatever that aren't real holidays. They were just invented by a whole bunch of people hanging on. See you in a bit, Ray, if you are here. If not, I'll see you later. So, all right. We've really got to make sure that in these scenes, I say, we are really screwed. No help coming. And I probably should reiterate in this scene, no help, and Commonwealth would really want moment. Because I got to make sure moment seems strategically valuable for them. Okay, so looking at this, this first scene, we've got 4 pages. All right. I'm not 100% sure I want to do this. And the reason is because we're not familiar with home ships yet. So that doesn't look as comforting to people who've never read this before. It'd be like, you're seeing a ship on the ocean coming towards our good guys, and it shows the flag that's half blue and half orange with a slash through the middle of it, and everybody goes yay, and you're like, huh, or whatever, because you don't know the symbolism of that. So whatever is the symbolism, we're going to have to communicate in some way. I'm kind of like sitting here thinking this through because this last scene here, I have it set up in a way of which she's talking to the captain of one of the cruisers or whatever. And Corvettes have a very special job because they can actually land. It's a large spacecraft to be able to land. So I think what I could do is have a picture of multiple Corvettes on the ground. Not just the Kittiwake, but other ships like her. Which might be kind of cool. This is what I'm kind of pondering here. I'm like, should I or should I not? I'm getting closer to feeling like this is the right story piece. So the 486th is a cat. It's a cat 5 or attack. Dang it! It's a alert 5. Thank you. Alert 5 attack squadron based off of the UMC Renham, which is a battleship. And she's actually in charge of 5 wings at this point in time. Welcome back to the stage of history. And I had this image of the scene where Kittiwake is right here, going this way. All these fighters go the other direction. And so fighters going the other direction. So Kittiwake's flying like this, and all these fighters zoom right past her. Or whatever. I'll come up with the numbers in a minute, but And the reason why I'm doing this before I started book 2 is because this scene is going to say, okay, what happened? And then Better Spec is going to have to say, well, I mean, you remember that thread that was almost complete? It's now complete. And it looks like somehow it was completed. We don't know how, because they don't. They have no idea what's going on with Alex or why Alex has control over that and why she can do something like that. Because nobody's controlled those before. Nobody has control over threads. Nobody knows how to make threads work. So all right. Maybe it's to a retreat line. Maybe they're at a retreat line. Who knows? There. Fall back. So she says, this is Commander April Carson of the 486th Attack Squadron. Would you like some help? And Bennett says, the 486 is stationed on the battleship Renham. And then they look at each other, and Chang says, battleship? And so then she clicks the communication on and says, yes? And then Carson says, all right, Skipper, hang tight and fall back to position 5, coordinates 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So giving orders to pull the Kittiwake out of the fight. Then you hear, targets have scrambled. Well, we woke them up. And then she says, Angel Squadron change course to wherever. So that Angel Squadron's doing something else. Then she says, Blue, Red, and Apollo Squadrons close to proximity. You are clear to arm, but do not fire. Let's just give them a gentle warning. And then back here on the Kittiwake, we have Better Spec, who's typing as usual. And he says, wow. Is it 3,000 or is it just 300? want to hang out there. Want to be them. Let's do this. I wouldn't want to be in their attack room right now. There we go. So he says, wow, that's 375 target locks in the destroyer that I can see. Should be discreet. There we go. I'll shrink this down too. Or whatever. These are all notes. I'll ultimately make them into all the things that will be made into, of course. And this is one of those where my instincts say one thing, and what we should do is something that doesn't, or that, not story. It's not good for the story per se, but it is better for how they would do it. In Star Trek, they'd stand down from red alert here. Well, they're still in a combat situation. Even if the targets scramble and decide to turn around and go home, they're still in threat range. So you don't want to stand down until those ships leave system, because you never know whether they would leave a grenade behind or something like that. You have to make sure the situation's secured. Why is this camera pulsing like that? That's so weird. See how it's pulsing? It's so strange. It's like having a problem focusing or something. I don't know. It's like the white balance is weird. Welcome back, Brent. All right. I'm trying. Oh, that'd be fun. That's what we need. Yeah. Hey, Colton. How you doing? I mean, it's snowing. I've got nowhere else to go. Where are you going? You know. I did. They lost it. But I knew that they would. But it made it a long way before they lost it. They lost it on re-entry, which is kind of wild. Would not have expected that. It's one of the reasons why I was a little late this morning. What about you? I guess you watched it too, because you said so. Corton. Hello, Corton. Can you hear me?
Hello.
Can you hear me now?
I can hear you.
Okay, good.
Okay.
How you doing?
I was like, oh, you're not leaving right now? Cool, I'm going to jump in and say hi.
Right?
Well, I do schoolwork.
That's all good. I'm not leaving. I'm just...
Nice.
I started late because of the Starship launch. Or Starship launch with SpaceX. So I'm going to run a little late today. Besides, it's snowing, as you can see. So
That's true. That's why I stepped outside real quick. I looked outside. I was like, dang it. Yep, still got to go to work.
Yep. It's supposed to get worse tonight. So at least you've got, a reprieve during the middle of the day. But it's not.
Kind of. Well, I mean, if it's really that bad, nice thing about where I'm at. They'll just give me a room.
Right? That's what I'm saying.
And it's like, just crash in here for the night, wake up in the morning. I'm like, cool. Actually, I might ask.
Yeah, going ahead and ask
I
that.
should ask him that because...
Yeah, I mean, like, take extra clothes.
I work... Well, not even just that. I work early in the morning anyway, so it'd just be nice just to wake up and roll out of bed.
No, at the bar.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's what I'm thinking is, hey, going ahead and call in and say, can I have a room?
Yeah, I might call him right here in a minute. In a bit. Or just shoot him a text and like, hey, if it's bad night, can I just sleep there and then just wake up in the morning and open the bar?
Yeah. There we go. Targets are bugging out. 30 minutes to the jump line. That works. I was in classes yesterday and thinking about this scene. I'm like, well, that's not helping me do my classes. I was like, well, the good news is
school going, by the way.
School's going great. I am on track for my first 4.0 semester ever. Now, whether that's actually going to pan out or not, but at least right now, all of my classes, I'm pulling two A's, one very high B, and one medium high B, which I think will be an A once he puts in everything else. Because like my archaeology, he's just really picky about the way he grades papers. So my papers are coming in at, 87% or, because he's picking on you shouldn't double space after a sentence and that's -5 points and you should, and stuff like that.
Wow.
So,
he's very picky.
Yeah, he's super picky, but
I mean, when your career is around papers, it makes sense.
Yeah, I guess that sort of makes sense. But also, the class is full of a bunch of kids and 2 of us who are actual anthropologists. The rest of them are all history majors or whatever that are getting a requirement filled. So it will curve whenever it gets to the end of the class. They'll curve it. And so I'm pretty sure that'll be fine.
Well, and then also, if he knows you're 2 anthropology majors, he's probably grading you guys on a higher curve.
Probably. But he's also probably going to grant us the, because we're both super engaged. We're both always asking questions. We're, every time he asks, where did this civilization come from? Because we talked about it 5 weeks ago. Both of us raise our hands, So it's like, we're very, very much, he's going to, he'd be a very mean teacher if he decided that he was going to be a stickler on the papers and have the 2 kids that were engaged the most in the class, get like, C's or whatever.
Right.
So as a teacher, I'm like, I'm not that worried. But yeah, everything else is going well.
That's good.
Else is going well.
I went from a 4.0 student. I'm at a 3.1 now. But it's because of all the language arts, liberal arts classes.
Right.
Like all the art classes have been great, except for like maybe 2 of them. I've pretty much been A's and B's for all of these.
Yeah.
But as soon as it gets into a paper class where, hey, you need to write papers, I'm like, and that's when we start tanking my grade.
Right.
So.
Yeah. Boss is messaging me and she's like, do you have keys to the locations you're at this coming week? Because it's spring break, so I'm working the whole week. And I'm like,
yep. That would make sense.
But I'm at my 2 close locations, the Arvada location and the Weaverage location, and they're both within like 10 minutes of here. So it's kind of nice. I like working those two locations. They're kind of my home locations.
No,
And
you don't have to go that
I now
far
have
either.
sort of tenure in the company, which means that I'm the primary teacher at those two locations. So I'm like,
Mhm.
yeah, I don't have to drive very far for work.
Right. I don't have to go as far. This is
Right.
great.
I do have one class out in Louisville at some point, but
Louisville.
yeah, don't usually have those. And it's actually a real class there too. It's kind of cool. So Louisville is where we have our Zoom setup for the Zoom classes. So we can
Mhm.
do online classes from there. And I've been teaching a lot of online classes from that location, but I haven't done an actual class yet there. So this
Okay.
is going to be my first real class there.
Nice.
I'm actually kind of excited about that. I'm like, yeah, this will be fun, you know.
Mm-hmm.
So
Sounds like a good time.
yeah, I really enjoy my job and I'm enjoying school. So like, it's a
win-win.
yeah, it's a good time right now. I'm having a good time. I mean, I'm tired, but
Oh, that just comes with the territory.
yep. It's actually kind of funny. I was talking to my doctor and I'm like, about halfway through my archaeology class, I start to drift off a little bit. I noticed that I went back through my notes and like the most important piece of archaeology that we've got right now is Göbekli Tepe. And I wrote and I apparently started falling asleep right in the middle of writing that word. And I'm like, this is really strange. It's almost like narcolepsy. And she looked at me and she went, you're working a full-time job, you're a dad, and you have 15 or 14 credit hours. And I'm like, well, yeah. She's like, have you just considered that you're just tired? Like,
Right.
no, not really. It's like, there may not be anything wrong with you at all. You're just being a human being and kind of running. You know, she's like, you're 50. You're really not, you know, a spring chicken.
Right.
You know, it's not like you've got an unlimited source of power going on here. So I was like, okay, maybe. It was pretty funny though. It was good.
But to fully answer your question, Brent, by the way, I left FedEx back in like August. I'm now a full-time bartender at the hotel I used to bartend at part-time.
And you're really cool whenever I'm working there and bring me chicken strips from the
When you order them, yes.
table. Which is great. Because like that was cool. I was gonna come back and get them from you. I was totally willing to do that. And I was just
if I have time, I just kind of do the little extra because there's nothing really else going on.
Yeah, I appreciate it. I'm not gonna argue with that.
Anytime.
I just think that was cool.
I did it to everybody. If I knew who they were, and I was like, oh, I know where you're at.
Yeah.
I just ran it out to them.
Oh yeah, I mean, it makes total sense. You're one of us, so it makes kind of that thing. It totally makes sense. This, I don't think I'm going to be going to any conventions this year, though, just because I'm overloaded right now. But
NDK.
Well, I'm going to do NDK, yes, but I don't count that one because I work it and have since 1997. So,
right,
it's kind of like, of course, I'm going to. It'd be kind of like somebody saying, "What? You're not going to hang out with your family over Thanksgiving?" You know, it's like, of course I am.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, I think NDK is going to be the only one that I'm going to be at, and I've stepped down from being a director at NDK for at least a time. Yeah, for a little bit right now. So this NDK, I'm going to spend it doing panels and actually like hanging out with people, and you know, I've never actually attended the convention before. So I'm sorry.
Yeah, that's more the volunteer side of it.
Yeah, well, I've been volunteering technically for a long time.
No, I know, but
I mean, I've been in the
you know, the actual role, like volunteer side role, where you just sit at the door, make sure everybody's getting in them properly.
Yeah, I don't think I'll be doing that, but I
then go run around the con for half of it.
Yeah, I'm going to actually, you know, attend the convention, like for the first time ever. Not really. I'm still going to work, but because she's still giving me a room, so I still feel like I probably ought to
Still obligated.
Yeah. Yeah, don't volunteer, Brett. You'll get voluntold. So I feel, but it's all right. I've got some thought processes on some. So one of the people who comes to Indicate every year is Dr. Friedman, who is an anthropologist in Seattle, whose concentration is on the media or the cultural trend or the cultural handoff between Japan and America. So she concentrates on anime, manga, music, things like that, the things that are going back and forth. So we have her as a guest every year so that she will do panels on different things. Well, I'm going into cultural anthropology too, actually pretty much because she convinced me to do it. And I mean, as in, I knew I should have done something like that, but I didn't think about it and really.
Just never
I'm not
jumped
going to
on
get
it
a
at the
table,
time.
Brent, not this year. Because if I get a table this year, I'll be glued to the table all weekend. I don't want to be glued to the table. I've never, in the 28 years that I've been going to NDK, I've never actually wandered the hallways and attended.
Or you sound like me when I finally just said, fuck it, I'm done. And now when I go to shows, it feels weird because I'm not behind a table.
Right? Well, and I may want a table next year because of it.
Yeah, you might.
I might.
I'm just warning you. That's usually what happens. You'll start feeling weird because you're not doing what you're usually supposed to be doing.
Right. It's a little easier because I'm not part of the upper management anymore, and the upper management tends to be, behind doors somewhere. So as long as I don't go behind doors, it'll be fine. And I have no intention of going anywhere near doors.
No doors. No door con.
You guys have your fun and do all this whatever you want. Anyway, the goal though is that once I get my PhD, I'm going to be specializing in Japan as well. So they're going to have panels that are okay, cool. Thanks, Brent. There'll be panels where it'll be Dr. Friedman and me, and we're going to call the panels, the panel of the two doctors, which will be, of course, a Doctor Who reference, because all of the fandoms sort of bleed into one another somewhere along the line.
They all do.
But yeah, that's my ongoing plan is that'll be what we'll be doing, and I think that'll be fun.
That'd be cool.
So yeah. And as the more I learn about cultural anthropology, the more fascinating it becomes. I found out that there are 4 disciplines in anthropology, 4 primary disciplines. There's biological anthropology, archaeological anthropology, cultural anthropology, and linguistic anthropology. And a lot of anthropologists cross over one or the other. Like if you have a cultural and biological anthropologist who take those 2 routes, they tend to be medical anthropologists. So they work on studying and understanding like a medical system, for example. Like you'll have medical anthropologists working right now on our healthcare system, trying to come up with better ways to deal with it or whatever. Or just observing what's happening in that culture. Biological anthropologists tend to be forensic anthropologists, which means that if you find a body in the woods, they'll call the anthropologist in to see whether A, the body is old enough that it's actually an archaeological problem, not a forensic problem. Yep, this guy's from 1730. He's probably not a murder victim. Well, and if he is, we probably can't do anything about it. So call in an archaeology team, that kind of thing. Or this guy was murdered just 3 years ago. This is a problem, like the police need to get involved and stuff like that. I've been finding all this stuff, but I also last class yesterday before the storm rolled in, my professor was talking about environmental anthropologists, which I thought that's interesting. So apparently there are anthropologists out there that work with the environmentalists to discuss the human impact on all of it. Some of them are researching the human side, and some of them are researching other pieces of it, but it's still cool. Just so many different things. I've got lots of options once I get out of here with the PhD. Got lots I could do.
That's good.
I also found out that NASA employs anthropologists, and that's kind of fascinating.
That doesn't surprise me, actually. Now that you say that.
Yeah, because that might be right where I'm headed. They've got anthropologists who are trying to figure out how would we live on Mars. What would be the human impact of having a base on the moon, human impact of a base on Mars. How does that affect how people work together socially? What kind of rules could we put in place early to protect people from having problems? And I'm like, and that might be where I head. I'm like, I could work for NASA and be just a happy person. You know what I mean?
Right.
Like
Just
that would be so cool.
Do the thing you've always wanted to do.
Yeah, in an angle that I didn't think.
Let me phrase that. Have the title you've always wanted. Worked for NASA.
Yep, work for NASA. Definitely a thing I've always wanted to do, and I could stand to do that. You just go in there and you spend time thinking about how people would live on the moon and how they would live on Mars, which might actually be where I head out. I might take a couple of years to do some studies in Japan and then pop over to NASA and work for NASA for a while. And I could stand to do that. Yeah, that would totally...
Sounds like a terrible life for you, guy.
I know, right?
The worst.
And depending on
where every minute of that life.
I know, I'd be hating every second of it. And then, maybe SpaceX will need some help. Who knows? I mean, by the time I get out there, it's going to be 5 or so years from now. We don't know what the status
is going to happen then.
Yeah. Yeah. I didn't know that there was.
I had to tell that to a lot of people. Like, I was talking to a lot of students, and the whole right now, the video games right now, and the gaming industry right now is doing a lot of layoffs.
Yeah.
And all these kids and all that stuff are like freaking out. They're like, "Oh my god, there's not gonna be jobs when I get like everybody's like everything's collapsing." Blah blah. I'm like, "No, this is normal recession. It's fine." And they're like, "What do you mean?" I was like, "How many more years do you technically still have?" They're like, "Oh, like 2." I'm like, "2's fine." Like, why? I'm like, because in 2 years, everything should be back to normal for us in our industry, and they'll be hiring nonstop. It's gonna be much better for you. Applying now,
people will have dropped out and started new careers somewhere else.
Got thrown into some new career, thrown into a new company, yada yada yada, back and forth. That when they start mass hiring again because they need the people, we're gonna be the front line. And they're just like, "Oh," I'm like, "Enjoy the time you have at school right now. Don't worry until you graduate." And I'm like, "Oh, okay." And they're like, "Okay, I think I understand." And even my teacher kind of looked at me. He's like, "What the?" I'm like, "Dude, I'm in my 30s. This is not my first recession."
Right.
He's like, "Oh, yeah, I always forget that. Damn it."
Right. Right. And you're not wrong. I mean, like, that's totally true. I've been through quite a few of them now. It's
actually kind of funny because the gaming industry, or entertainment industry specifically, doesn't take hits until after the recession starts falling off.
Right.
Because the main hits in jobs and all that stuff during the recession happen at the beginning, which means everybody goes home, which means everybody's doing entertainment. So the entertainment industry starts booming a little bit during a recession.
Uh-huh.
And then when everybody starts going back to work because jobs are starting to open back up, that's when their recession hits.
Yeah. You're right.
That's what I'm telling people. Like, no, we're good. Like, yeah, the recession's still here. But if the entertainment industry is taking big hits right now, it means the recession is actually going in the right direction.
Yeah, you're not wrong.
For the rest of society.
Right. It is something to kind of, I don't know. It's one of those things that I worry about a little bit is, where are recessions and stuff like that. But I just recently found something that was fascinating because it was, I found a posting that posted about recessions. And they're
just something that you're also restudy with being an anthropologist.
Yeah. But I mean, it's like, and that's the thing is like, one of my big things is the more I learn about how things work
and how
the more I'm like,
they are, it's kind of crazy.
Yeah. The more I start going, oh, Okay. And I'm not as worried as I was before.
Like, yeah, you're gonna take a hit. Don't get me wrong. Like, I've hit. Even the hotel industry took a hit too. Don't get me wrong.
Oh, sure.
But also, like, the one that still doesn't, that didn't make sense is FedEx, personally. But
Yeah.
because they're acting like they're in a recession. Like, guys, you guys are still pulling $4 billion in profit every year,
You know it. Yeah.
and you guys are making huge changes. That, yeah, no. Yeah, how many things interact? It's kind of crazy.
Yep. And it's kind of
I
wild.
love it. It's kind of fun just learning about it, though. That's why I'm like, when you said what you're doing, I was like, oh, this is totally you, because these are the kind of conversations we always had when we were in Perkins.
Right? Because, like, this fascinates me. All of this fascinates me.
I know. That's why I was like, no, this is definitely something I'm glad you're going for, because it's something that, like, it's totally you. It's
Yeah.
like a perfect job for you, career path, whatever.
It really is. I'm very excited about it.
Like, we all love comics and all that stuff, don't be wrong, and manga and anime, but, like, when you really look at it, though, is like, what do also, like, you can always do that as a, like, a side gig also, too, you know?
Yeah.
Like, that's kind of one reason, like, don't get me wrong, like, I like bartending. It is fun. I do enjoy it. It is a good backup. I will never go to dive bars ever again. Like,
Right.
I will never work in that scenario. I like corporate.
That makes
And also,
sense.
too, corporate has a 401k. So
There's that.
as a bartender, that's like, there is technically a retirement if I want it.
Yeah.
But it's also the same question everybody keeps asking me. What is, like, at school? Like, what's your ideal job? And I was like, when I don't have to retire. Like, what do you mean? I'm like, I don't want to have to retire because I don't, like, because I want, like, if I retire, it's because I want to.
Yeah.
Not because I have to.
I
And
agree.
most people in careers, they're like, as soon as they hit their 50s and 60s, they kind of look at what they're doing like, I'm going to have to retire because I can't keep up anymore.
Yeah. Well, and that's why I'm doing what I'm doing now too. Same thing.
Yeah.
Of course, I don't want to retire.
I mean, you don't want to. I mean, you're a teacher too. Like, teachers,
Yeah.
you could go as long as you really want.
That was the battle plan. Find me just like they found Einstein, dead at my desk somewhere along the line.
Doing something he was happy about.
Yeah, doing something great and entertaining and fun, and something
That's why I
working
told,
on
like,
the next
teachers and
challenge.
all that, and they're like, well, that makes sense now. I was like, yeah, like, do you really want to retire from art? They're like, no. I'm like, I might want to retire from teaching. I'm like, yeah, but I'm not going to leave the industries that I'm working in still. I'm like, see, they're still going to have commissions. They're still going to do work on the side. And there's plenty of people that they still work in industries for years because, especially on the art side and design side, they're like, no, we could still. I have teachers that are in their 70s and 80s that walk into their companies that they still, like, freelance for, and they're like, oh yeah, we're gonna do this, and they're just like, yeah, okay, cool,
Yeah.
I like that. I'm like, what the? I want that.
right? Like that's great. Yeah.
That sounds more up my alley. I'm like, oh yeah, like, that's what I want. I want to do that. Just kind of walk in, be like, oh yeah, so you guys called me. What do you need?
What's the haps? Yeah.
That sounds fun.
Yeah.
And still
Like-
get paid the money I'm worth, you know?
That's the other thing is, like, after I put out a couple of papers in the science side, then you show
Mhm.
up and they're like, oh, I've read your paper. You're definitely the expert on this.
You're Dr. Guy, right?
Yeah, you're Dr.
I'm that
Guy. We've read your papers. So yeah, like that's the thing I'm really looking forward to is
You can
going
have
in
all the
and-
dad jokes you want, Guy.
exactly, and nobody will question it.
Nope.
Oh yeah, that's Dr. Guy. He does dad jokes all the time. That's just the thing he does.
It's his thing. We just let him do it. We just let him do his thing. But he's really smart.
Because he does the other things too. This is fine. But I mean, like, that's the thing. Like, we were just talking about that whole thing is would be so cool to just go in and, oh, I can see where your problem is. Your problem is this thing. Fix this one problem and you'll be fine. Thanks, Dr. Guy. You've solved the problem. It's so cool.
We've been trying to figure this out for a while, and you just
Right.
came in and were like, oh yeah, it's that. Oh,
That.
okay.
Yeah.
That makes more sense now. Yeah, like stuff like
I
that.
get it now. We're all good. It'd just be cool. Yep. I'm in agreement with you. That is pretty much exactly what
I mean,
was
there is
hoping.
also like,
You know, I'm
if you really look at it, and even in the art industry, is there are retirement ages too. Like a lot of the comic book artists and all that stuff, they start retiring too because they can't keep up with the page workout, like the page load.
Yeah.
And those long hours anymore because like a lot of comic, like there's not. I love comics, but I've also come to the realization it is a non. You don't make money in comics usually.
Yeah.
You do it as like, hey, I love doing this. You can make money, but you don't make a lot of money.
That's sort of my thought too. I will keep making my comics. They'll be slower, but I'll keep going. I'm not stopping. But I've come to the conclusion there's no way. We're not going to compete.
Yeah.
And especially
you
with AI out
can.
there now, there's no way. It's going to be so difficult to compete now. You're going to have to be high speed, low drag. You know.
Yeah, there's a lot of different things you got to calculate nowadays. And like even talking to like people like that are in the industry right now that with that AI is coming into.
Yeah.
And all of them just keep saying the same. It's like we're just hoping for more legislations. Once the legislations kick in, AI is going to be just there as a tool and not there with the fear that it is right now. I'm like, yeah, we're hoping.
Yeah, I don't know. I think that's a genie, and there's nothing we're going to be able to do about it.
I mean, they are putting
what
a
I
lot
mean?
of legislation still on it, which is nice. It stopped the major corporations from really doing anything because they can't own it.
Right.
Because the IP side's gone completely.
But that's part of it is kind of that the thought process of that is that, you know, no matter what you do, we're not going to be able to put that genie back into the bottle, and that worries me.
No. Yeah, well, I mean, that's the problem that me and my friend, were talking about that, and she's like, anywhere else in the world, if they were testing AI like they're doing here, anywhere else, I would feel safer.
Yeah.
But America is so corporate that we're the test subjects to literally making this take everybody, like taking life, taking everybody's daily life away.
Right. We're the ones
that's the problem.
Yeah, we're the ones that people, oh, yeah, we watched America do this. That's not good. You're like,
oh, we watched America do this. This is fine. They learned how to automate everything.
Right.
Nobody needs jobs anymore because America decided to go full AI. I was like, yeah, that was the problem.
Yep, and therein lies the rub. So it's interesting that I just found out that Bernie Sanders introduced legislation to switch to a 32-hour work week. And part of his reasoning behind it was that we are no more productive at 32 hours. The statistics show that we are no more productive at 32 hours than we are at 40. And he was saying with the introduction of more different kinds of things like AI and automation, jobs are going to become more and more scarce. So 32 hours at the same pay is what he's looking for. As a bill, it's 32 hours at the same pay. So if you were paid,
that's getting corporate life to actually agree to the same pay, though.
Yeah, well, that's the thing.
I was just watching a video today. Like,
yeah.
I woke up this morning. There was a video that popped up. It was back in like 1980. The minimum wage, or it was like 70s or 80s. I can't remember. Like the minimum wage was like $3.50. Rent was like $200. Most people with the $3.50, if you're at minimum wage, was leaving with like a $400, $450 gross income. That's still like 50% of your actual income.
Right.
Jump forward to today. Average rent is $1,700.
Yep.
And this is just to live on your own. And minimum wage is like $14 an hour. That brings you at, like, if I remember right, he said $12,000 in gross income, which means you can't even afford to live on your own.
Yeah, that's what's
And then he's like,
everywhere.
let's fast forward. He's like, let's fast forward now. If we actually college, what they say right now with college students coming out of college, you're starting at $20 an hour.
Yeah.
Which finally puts you back at that 50%.
right?
of your gross income is going straight into that 1,700. I was like, you need to literally be making at least $20 an hour to be living on your own in the national America.
Yeah.
And I was like, I sat there, I looked at the numbers, and I'm like, damn, I didn't realize that was where we're at right now. But
that's where we're at right
and
now.
then I thought about where I'm at right now, like the studio and all that stuff. I'm like, I have a steal. I stole this place.
Right. Well, that's kind of one of the things is like, you know, keeping this house in sort of, you know, keeping this house and holding on to it is becoming critical. Because if we got a house and we got into the house in 2012, so we bought this house at like, you know, the less than 200,000, you know, which is insane. Now less than 200,000 people. If I said I bought my house for less than 200,000, they're like, "Do you get shot at every night?" You know, it's just an assumption. Or like
it was the ghetto, right?
No. Yeah, and
your area is actually the nicer part of Nevada.
Yeah, I'm in one of the easy, nicer, calmer parts of Arvada. Happy as a little clam. You know, this is where I grew up. I am literally less than a quarter mile from the house that I grew up in. So, like, I'm in my home neighborhood. I used to ride my bikes through here. So, you know, it's I love this place. And so I really want to hold on.
You're in like a nice area.
Yeah. I really am.
Also, I grew up in Colorado too, so like I know the areas that were bad and what areas aren't.
Right. The one
like where my job is. That was the bad area.
Plains, which is no longer a bad area, but we all grew up with it.
It's still a bad area, actually.
Well, yeah, but it's not as bad as it
High Plains. They gentrified it, made it into Rhino, made it super nice, and then once our homeless population went out of control, they just shuffled them all into there. So now it went back to normal.
Right. You're like, oh, thanks. That didn't help any.
Like, nothing against that, but I was just like, they didn't really... They fixed it for a minute, and then they just like, oh, we're just going to push everybody back into that little area. I'm like, you guys really didn't help out, did you?
Right.
So, give me 2 seconds. I'm going to make some more coffee.
Okay. Once you get back, I'll get more coffee, too. Do-do-do-do. What I don't understand, and I still don't quite get this, is why I do screen caps on my all the time, and I trim them on my phone. And it, though trimmed, it doesn't seem to, it always loads up both the trimmed picture and the original screen cap, even though I say save over the original, because I don't, you know, all it is it's the top part where it shows my battery and the bottom part where it shows the back arrow. I don't need those. I'm trying to, you know, just save like the picture, or in the case of one that I just found right there, it had a timeline of the history of human existence all the way back to the very beginning, which is useful for my classes. So, you know, so it's kind of like, I'm just chatting, but I was like, I've got to go through my screen caps directory, because I'll cap things on my phone and it saves it. And then later on, when I've got nothing better to do, I'm lying in bed, getting ready to go to sleep or whatever, I'll go back through those and trim them. So it just trims off the little part that says what time it is and the battery, and, you know, because I don't need those. And I'll trim those off. And then it says, do you want to save as a new file or save it as an old file? And I'm like, or save it over the old file. And I'm like, I save it over it because I don't need to keep it. And then I go back through it now, and every so often I go back through and it saved both of them. So I've got to delete the originals because, you know, like some of these are just pictures from Star Trek and I want the picture, but the aspect ratio of my phone is, you know, big and, you know, phone sized, and the aspect picture of the picture is picture size. So I have to trim off the top part and the bottom part of it. It's just the picture I want. I just want the picture because I'm a Star Trek fan, and there's things happen because of that. Did I ever tell you that every so often Google will do a looking back on important people of your life, and it starts with my kid, my cat, and William Shatner. Because it goes through my pictures, and it's already identified Bill Shatner, and so he shows up a lot in my photographs in my directories.
I can see that.
So it's hilarious. Like you can look back on your family member Leonard Nimoy. It's like
Leonard Nimoy.
Right. And get cracked.
That's funny that is your
right.
Oh, that's great.
It's like clearly you think that's he's my person, I guess. He's part of my, which makes total sense. I just think it's funny that I clearly have as many pictures of Bill Shatner as I do, or almost as many pictures of Bill Shatner as I do of my son. It cracks me up all the time. So that's what I'm doing right now, is I'm just going back through all these pictures and just sorting them and putting them in the correct directories and stuff. Because I take a lot of these screenshots, and then it's, I'm only doing this because I need to save this thought process, or I want to remember what this person, this person's name, or, and so I've got folders for all of these things, which are specific. Or there's art that I think is just so pretty, and I want to mimic it at some point in time, or whatever. Or, as I'm noticing, there's just 6.7 gajillion pictures from Star Trek. Like anybody's surprised. Or a screenshot of my lock screen for reasons I'm not sure why. It's okay. Comparative effects of diet-induced lipid lowering along with APOA1 Milano gene. Oh yeah, I was gonna look into that at some point. So there's apparently a gene out there that that one group of humans has, and it's the APOA1 Milano, and that's the name of the gene. And the people who have that gene, they don't get arterial sclerosis. They don't get the buildup of plaque in your arteries. So they can eat as much red meat as they want and not get clogged arteries. And it's all because that one gene is there. And I'm like, oh man, we are like right on the edge of getting rid of, heart disease. But it's expensive, so they stopped.
Okay.
Apparently I just learned about it in a Reddit thread like 3 weeks ago or something like that. And apparently this all happened in like 2005. They discovered it. It's proven. They went through phase 1 testing with mice, and that proved that it worked. And then they went through a mild phase 2 with actual humans, and it worked with them too. And then they said, well, we can't mass produce it, so never mind. Or it's hard to mass produce it. Not we can't, but it's hard to mass produce it.
Right.
And I was like, wait, what? It's kind of like, wait, whoa. This is too difficult. We'll do it later. Like, what? No. So, it's pretty funny. The infamous Stanley Cup on the Enterprise of the bridge. A bridge of the Enterprise. Here, I'll show that picture. It's kind of funny. It is. There you go. The actual, no shit, that's the real Stanley Cup
That's hilarious.
in the captain's chair. And it's a ongoing, it's a long-standing joke, and there's a reason for it. It's because there's a hockey player who is or NHL Hall of Famer Luke Robitaille, or I don't know hockey, so he visited the set of Star Trek Enterprise after winning the Stanley Cup with the Detroit Red Wings in 2001.
Mhm.
And so at the end of the season, they gave him a tour of the Enterprise, and he got to sit the Stanley Cup in the captain's chair. It was the real honest to God Stanley's Cup and everything. And so it's kind of cool. I'm not a sports fan, but even I was kind of like, I don't know, that's kind of cool.
That is pretty cool.
Yeah. I mean, I'm not a, I don't know what's going on exactly, but still pretty cool.
We're having fun.
Yeah. Works for me. Cost prohibitive. Yeah. That's the
those are always the ones that always surprise me. The people that have been like in like the sports and all that stuff, like after their whole career in like playing hockey or football or whatnot, you know.
Yeah.
Like most of them, there's like, what do you do after that? And like some of them actually go on to go do some like crazy things.
Yeah. But I mean, it's it's kind of like, what do you do? You know, okay, you're done.
Like I've met, like you've literally spent all your 20s and your 30s and your whole high school career, like high school, middle school life doing nothing but sports.
Right?
What's their next? What do you do after that? And then like some of them actually go off and like do stuff like that, like science, and like the ones that actually I think about it afterwards, like while they're in are the ones that are like a little bit more better off when they leave, because they're like, oh, I've been already thinking about this, you know.
Yeah.
School, you know.
Yeah, somebody's been sitting there like, hey, have you thought about doing X, Y, or Z?
Sorry, I'm laughing at Brent.
Brent. Captain Stanley Cup, you don't have permission. Are you here for hockey? You here for hockey? You should be here for hockey. We're just saying.
That's hilarious. Like I've met like a few of them randomly on like after their careers or whatnot. And, like some of them were in, like a lot of them, the ones I met, they all went into sales. So it was kind of interesting seeing them. I was like, never saw this one coming.
Yeah, because they get a lot of money off of it.
Yeah.
I mean, if you think about it, you know, you can go in there and say, you know, hey, I'm Wayne Gretzky. I'll sell stuff for you, and you can use my name and pivot it, you know.
Right.
I was like, oh, that's interesting. I mean, it does work.
That is a sales right there. It's like, hey, we can at least use you for a few years until your name stops going places, you know.
Yeah. Yeah.
We at least got one market from now until eternity.
Right.
But it's still one of those, though. Is like for the sales side, you at least got like during that time you can only use your name for so long until it's like, all right, let's see what you can actually do, you know.
Well, I would assume that what they really do is the person goes in and they record him saying, hi, I'm Wayne Gretzky. You want to buy this thing? And then he gets paid $1 billion, and they call him, you know, sales. And you know what I mean? Like, and
Yeah.
There you go.
I mean, a lot of those guys, they do it already anyways, so it's not that big difference, you know.
Yeah.
A lot of commercials and stuff like that.
Oh, yeah. So that's kind of one of those things. It's like, I'm sure that's what happens, but oh well. It's a thing.
Because there's only so many jobs that like those industries can actually take you on for, you know.
Right.
And keep you even after your career.
Also true.
That's what I always like. On the hockey topic, like Joe Sakic, he still runs the Avalanche.
Yeah. Which that also makes some sense, you know.
Mm-hmm. Patrick Waugh, he's a coach for, I think, Florida now.
Oh yeah.
But yeah, he's off being a coach. Forsberg, he owns a construction company in Norway,
Okay.
the Netherlands.
I'm willing to
That one's
accept
the one I was like, didn't see that one coming. But all right, cool.
Yeah.
Like he went out and started his own business. I was like, that's cool. At least you had the opportunity and we had the money and all that to do it. So
Mhm.
why not do it? But that's him. He was able to go back home. But like those are like the three that I know that are actually doing stuff. I don't remember anybody else really. What else happened to them? But at least from that era, you know.
Yeah. Yep. I found a thing that helps me convert degrees to radians and stuff.
So what?
Every so often I need to do stupid degrees to radians or whatever, and it's just like, ugh, why? And so that somebody has made a very useful, here I'll show you.
They give you a useful tool.
Yeah, useful little just converter tool. I gotta click the right thing though. I've got so many things open now. So yeah, this just is a degrees to radian and angle converter. So very useful for anytime I start doing more star stuff where I've got to like figure out the dumb maps and I all screwed up and everything. And this is easier for me to comprehend because it's a physical object. And so I can easily comprehend this as opposed to, oh, come on, it's simple. If you divide this by 46 and add 2 to the 5 and then the square root of it is 6, everybody knows that. And I'm like, no earthly idea what you just said. You know?
Do we know that though, guy? Do we?
People do that a lot to me. And it's usually what's so funny is I'll explain it like that. And then they're like, it's not that complicated, guy. You take the square root of 2 and then add 64 and your grandmother's social security number. You're making it sound more complicated than it is.
Like, social makes it sound really complicated.
Your explanation just made it sound more complicated. Like, how are you not seeing this? It's just really funny because it's like, you guys can't hear yourself, can you?
Right.
And it makes total sense. I mean, people, if you were to talk to me about seeing patterns and how people behave and operate, it's obvious to me. It's totally clear. I can see it. I can see people behaving in a specific way. I can anticipate that they will do this. I can anticipate, and it's just straight up. Makes total sense. Mm-hmm. But then other people are like, the hell are you talking about? Everybody's so chaotic and there's no way you can figure it out, Like, no,
right.
It's pretty easy. People are pretty simple. Not complicated. So, which, that's a thing. I don't know. It's just fun. But either way, when math is done as a picture, I really get it at that point in time, which is one of the reasons why I have a hard time with math, because that's not traditionally how we do math. It's not like we do that.
Right.
In sort of, it's not a traditional thing for us to say, let's talk about math as a picture, and I will show you what practically this is doing, and why we call this word this and that word that, Oh, I get it now. My kiddo. One of the things that's funny is every time Facebook brings up memories, if it's one of those where I just posted on Facebook about funny that the kid said, I screen cap it because it's still got the date on it and everything like that. And then I try to take it back and throw it in the folder of which it belongs. For example, this is from November of 2015. And we were driving along somewhere, and my wife was getting frustrated with my phone. And so, she was trying to make something work or whatever. I don't know. And so I said to her, I said, I can't help you with my phone. I'm driving. I like to live. And from the back seat comes this little voice that says, as a 5-year-old, I'd like to vote against dying as well. And it was like, so I keep these because they're, of course, adorable. And
that's a pretty good one, though.
Yeah, the kiddo being like ridiculously snarky, very funny every time. So. So then I'm now putting these in their correct folders. I was working on my stories. No, I'm not. That was a thing.
I'm like sitting here to like doing like 4 things at once right now, so I totally agree with that.
That's all good.
I'm like, oh yeah, I gotta send out this email. Oh yeah, I gotta do this. Oh yeah, I gotta do that. I was just hoping to sit down and just draw today.
Right? I've found a new artist that I'm all interested in the way that they draw.
Which one?
Chomeng?
That name sounds familiar.
Yeah, I mean, I can't imagine you haven't seen it. But yeah.
Chomeng? How do you spell it?
Yeah, CH. Hang on. I've got a folder for him. Or her. I don't know. I always guess it's a
him. Well, while you pick up that folder, I'm going to grab my coffee now.
Okay. Where the heck did I hide it? I hid it for myself just because that's important. Totally hid it for myself.
Okay. What do we got?
Let's see here. Yeah, CHOMMANG. Here, I'll show you. I'll show you an example.
CHOMMANG?
Yeah, like this. So it's up at the top there.
Oh, that's nice.
Yeah, he's just, but her style is really lovely. And the way that they break it down is really cool. So like that's like a 5-minute drawing or something like that. And I'm like, that's better than like
Korean
20-minute drawings, probably.
Yeah, they're Korean. Yeah, it's
I've been really into their drawing style, and I really need to make a folder for it, and I'm going to because I thought I had a folder, but I guess I don't. So here we are making a folder.
They are totally an animator.
Oh yeah, you go that fast. Absolutely.
Oh, no, just that. I'm just looking through all their stuff on Instagram. Like, you are totally an animator. I could see it just through the breakdowns.
Yeah. Yeah.
That's funny.
I have a folder that says artists that inspire me.
Dude, that's a good mouse study.
Right?
They're cool. Nice. No, I like them. They're good.
Yeah. I'm gonna copy all of these in this. I've got a folder specifically.
Oh, they're doing figure drawing. That makes me wish I was not that figure drawing class.
Do what?
Oh, they're reels or whatever on Instagram was showing them doing figure drawings, and you know the Immortal Mori, is that what it's called?
Memento Mori?
Yeah, it makes me wish I was there right now.
Oh, yeah.
I've missed it like the last 3 times because work, but ooh, we might have a new bartender. I might be able to get days off more often.
Right?
I'm excited.
That
Oh
is
my
kinda
god. And I'm the one that technically hired him too, so I'm happy with this.
Yay!
The guy came in and was like, "Hey, I was sent over to you because they said you're the manager." I was like, "Okay, what's going on?" They're like, "Oh, I saw the posting on LinkedIn or whatever, Indeed, LinkedIn, one of the two."
Something.
Yeah. And then I was like, "Okay, yeah, what's going on?" They're like, "Oh, I'm here to apply for the bartending position." I was like, "Okay, let's talk."
This
Let me
I can
see
help
your-
you with.
Yeah, I was like, "Okay, yes, this is totally up my alley." I was like, "Why are you guys being sent to me? I'm so confused. Hold on." So I mean, then we're talking for a minute, and they have experience as a bar manager, restaurant manager, like all this stuff. And I was like, He's like, I just want to be a bartender. I'm like, well, we're not technically a bartender.
Right.
We still are bartenders, but in the long run, you're a like we're also technically management at the same time. He's like, what?
Right.
I was like, we're the ones that have to like kind of watch everybody because it's our job and we do all the paperwork and all that stuff at the end of the day. Like, oh, okay, that makes more sense. I was like, dude, I could teach anybody how to make drinks. Like the drinking part for bartending is 10% of the actual job.
Yeah.
The rest of the job is how do you interact with customers. If you can keep conversations with anybody, you'll make more money with conversations than you'll ever will with a drink.
You're not wrong.
We are glorified therapists that aren't licensed.
Yeah, I mean you're not wrong on that one. That is absolutely true.
But also there's like about 10 different ways to make old fashioned, so it all depends on where you're at.
Right. It's also true.
The way I make an old fashioned is way different than my co-bartender. Not that different. It's like we just do 2 different little tweaks. He makes them very old school, old fashions. I make them.
They're old fashions. You're saying?
Well, so like the traditional way to make an old fashioned had club soda and grenadine.
Uh-huh. I say that like I know exactly what you're talking about. I don't.
The base ingredients in an old fashioned are literally cherry, orange. You muddle those together. It's a bourbon and bitters, and then simple syrup.
Okay.
Every place kind of makes them all a little different, and I just make them very quick, simple, and they're done because the faster I get them out, the faster I can get back to work.
Fair.
But like other people will make them differently too. Like my boss, like coworker, he adds a splash of grenadine and soda water in there, which I was like, that's a very old school way of doing it. Some people like it, some people don't.
Yeah.
I just kind of keep it very straightforward across the board because I'm like, either you're gonna like it because it's alcohol, or 2, it's because it actually tasted what you were looking for.
Right.
Not trying to add stuff just to make it taste better, you know? But there are some places that make some really cool old fashions, and those are really delicious. But like,
Nice.
I love old fashions.
Right.
But there's only certain places I'll go to that actually will do old fashions like that aren't just my kind of old fashioned I do at work. Mine's the mill old fashioned, just make it real quick. There you go. Have a great day. Enjoy.
Don't
Or
come
like
back.
when I actually go out for old fashions for drinks and whatnot, I actually do like I find the places that actually specialize in them and do them differently because they're more mixologists more than actually bartenders.
I've got to say, I kind of like mixologist as a name.
I do too, but I'm not a mixologist. I'm a bartender. I'll tell you that right now.
Fair.
I'm here
I
to
just
make
like
you a
that.
good drink and actually hang out with you. Mixologists are there to make very fancy drinks.
Also fair.
Or
Since I'm not
sounds like
really
my
a
job in
drinker.
IT.
Yeah. I'm not really a drinker, so like my whole thought on this one is I'd rather just hang with you and you can get me a Coke. You
There-
know? Like, because I'm not a drinker.
And that's
so
the
it's
other
like,
part. Like,
like-
I have so many people. I have people at my bar that are my regulars. Now they just come down and hang out with me, even though they don't drink, because
Yeah.
I throw on hockey. I throw on a TV that they want to watch, and they can sit down, have a good meal, and have someone to talk to.
right.
And they realize, like, I'm not here to sell you alcohol. I'm here to hang out.
yeah.
And they just
Totally
come down
sense.
now every day of the night, get some dinner, come and hang out with me, and then they go up to the room like, "Thank you, we enjoyed it." I'm like, "Yeah, you're welcome. We'll see you next week."
Right.
Or the week that they come in, and they're just like, that's where I'm like, I know I'm not a mixologist wise, because I just give them very basic like water, Coke, and things like that.
Yeah.
And also have a lot of people that come in and they're like, "Oh, you guys don't do mocktails?" I'm like, "No, I do not do a mocktail. I'll make you a fruit drink if that's what you want, but I'm not doing a mocktail."
Not even 100%.
I don't
sure
care.
what a cocktail is. So yeah.
It's pretty much a virgin cocktail.
Oh, okay.
You're making a cocktail without alcohol.
That's fair.
Meadologist.
A meadologist.
But I just tell people no, because I'm like, that requires too much brain power for me to even care. Like, I'll make you a fruit drink if that's what you want, but I'm not going to be sitting here trying to figure out how to make a old fashioned without alcohol
Can you make me an old
and make
fashioned?
it taste like an old fashioned. To make it taste like an old fashioned without alcohol, I'm like, no, I'm not going to be that person. I'm sorry. That's more of a mixologist, not me.
Not a uologist. Yeah.
Yeah. And I even told my boss, I'm like, I'm not doing that. He's like, I don't want you to. I'm like, all right, cool, thanks.
Yep.
He's like, they are coming to a bar. The bar does not mean that we just do whatever they want. I'm like, yes, that's true. That's kind of what
Right.
I've told them. Yes, we're in hospitality. Doesn't mean you always get everything. I'm sorry.
Also true.
I'm like, I have a soda machine behind you. Please go to there. I do like a good mead. Brent, why aren't you here? If you were here, I'd bring you a bottle. You could fill me up. But, alright. I'm actually going to get off.
Yeah.
I got more stuff
I'm
I
gonna
gotta get
bow
done.
out too because I want to go get lunch.
That too.
It's lunchtime, and I'm just sorting pictures now. All the Star Trek pictures in the Star Trek folder. That's important.
It is.
47,000 pictures from Star Trek. That's the way
They
it
all
goes.
have a home.
They all have a home. Depends on the series. So, all right, guys. Well, I'm glad you joined me. Thanks, Colton. I'm glad
Yeah,
you
you're
joined me,
welcome.
Brent. I always appreciate that.
Always like seeing you guys.
Yeah, and Ray was here for a while, but then I think Ray had to bow out, so which is fine because
That's
it's
fair.
the middle of the night for Ray, so I can't.
Oh yeah,
report.
Ray's on the other side of the earth.
Yeah, Ray's on the other side of the earth, so I get it. But if Ray's still here, have a good evening, Ray. Happy Pie Day to everybody. Go eat some pie. That's important, man. And that's what we're gonna do. And I'll be on tonight, I think. I think. I'm not 100% sure because sometimes I'm just watching TV shows with the kiddo, and that's kind of a
I
nice.
will be at work until midnight.
So there you go. I won't be. Somebody is actually out there in this stuff, and like,
Well, I'm at a hotel, so everybody that's not leaving the hotel is gonna be here. That's
well,
why
no,
have
but
to
I mean,
go.
actually, I don't know if you can see this on the monitor over here, but let's see here.
I didn't see the other camera.
Somebody's over there in the playground actually playing.
Oh,
on the
really?
playground. Yeah.
Hey,
I'm
when
like,
you want to get out and go do something because you're that bored.
yeah, you got nothing better to do, so here you are out there on the playground actually doing stuff. I can't blame them. It's kind of nice,
Yeah. Hey,
kinda
you got the whole playground to yourself.
right?
With
It's
your
not like
kid.
anybody else is gonna be out there, fighting you for it or anything.
I made a joke with one of my friends. I sent him a picture because one of our friends from the Bay Area moved out here.
Uh huh.
And I was like, oh, his first snow. And he's like, nah, he's been around snow before. I'm like, damn it.
There were people in Japan that I met that had never really seen snow. They'd seen it on TV and stuff, but they'd never actually.
Oh, because of where they're at.
Because where they're at, yeah.
Geologically, yeah.
Southern parts of Japan.
Mm-hmm.
And they were up in Moria for whatever reason and happened to be there during the one of 2 snowstorms they have every year. And the snow they drop is just a little bit. I mean, it's not a lot, but
Right.
they were like freaking out completely. Well, I've never seen snow before. This is so cool.
We're all gonna die.
We're all going to die. All right, guys, I'm heading out. Thanks for joining me. I'll talk to you guys later. And keep your eyes on the stars. Bye-bye.